Hi folks, and welcome back to the plot at the end of quite a long day for me. My forecast, I'm not sure what yours looks like, but for me, we've got an entire 7 days of just absolutely tipping it down. So I'm not going to be able to make many videos, and I thought today I'd just come up and basically get as much outdoor work done as I possibly could. So I've had a bit of a planting out marathon. The greenhouses are looking much nicer, and I thought we'd just spin you around for a quick kind of 10-minute tour, just showing you everything I've been up to. You can probably tell I'm a little bit tired. The first thing I did, I really started the day wrong, because I started the day by turning the compost and in the blazing sun. It was really hot today, so the kind of heat of the sun, about 1 o'clock, I came down and I gave this allotment no, what allotment? I gave this compost pile on the allotment a really good turn. You can see I've now put loads more greenery on top, but oh wow, I've done a lot today. I've got this bed all kind of milled, and I've gone over, we've now just got these 2 little remaining leeks, and I've put in a pretty pitiful looking path because we've run out of wood chip on the allotment. We've got a few new plot holders who are really keen on the wood chip, and so they're greedily gobbling it up, but it's first come first serve, isn't it? I have down here planted out some of the spinach, which was really starting to look a little bit done in the greenhouse. Down here, the lettuce that I've planted out is looking really quite sad. At least these two are surviving, but I'm hoping, we've put quite a lot of spinach out all over the place. I'm hoping they're not going to get immediately slugged. I've even put some just over here where the old lettuce plants were. Here you can see the corpse of a lettuce and some tiny little baby spinach. I was actually starting to get a little bit worried because I think some of it is just on the verge of bolting. You know, you can't really have spinach in the greenhouse when it's getting to 30 degrees Celsius. It's just not going to do what you want it to do. Down here, this is where I've done a load of direct sowing, and I should probably have done a bit more of that today, but I am starting to see some spring onions and spinach pop up, but I might actually just re-sow those before I go today. This, very exciting though. I've planted up along the border lots of calendula, which I'm really excited to start seeing, but the main event, I've got in 2 rows, or one kind of double row of dwarf French beans. So these are the ones that don't need support, which I'm always quite happy about. I do have some cobra, which are the very tall ones, which I'm probably going to put behind. They want to be in full sun, and you can see it's about 6 o'clock now, and we're just getting a little bit of dappled shade, but I really think they're going to be pretty much full sun for most of the day. And the ones that get up high, I think they're going to be just fine, aren't they? Things normally grow well in this kind of side of the bed, so hopefully we'll have a good showing. But this is completely new to me, never grown these before. Wow, can you tell that I eyeballed this line? I did not get the string out for that one, but yeah, it's really nice to actually be getting the beds occupied and getting stuff out now. This needs a bit of a tidy, doesn't it? This was all the cardboard and compost and manure that was on the bed, but it's ready to find somewhere else now for a little while. Pretty much all of today's work is on the old plot, but I do have some exciting news for the end. Exciting and daunting, so do stick around for that. Oh God. But here I've just put in a few more, another line of spinach. This is looking really good. I think this is actually like Amelia F1 or something like that. It's a bit of a different spinach variety. Taste-wise, actually pretty horrible compared to the Medania that I normally grow, but I'm hoping that's just because, oh, it's really bitter. I'm hoping that's just because it's been in the greenhouse. But what I've done is this row of broad beans has gone in next to it, and hopefully this is going to provide a little bit of shade. It's a bit of a weird kind of line of broad beans. Basically, I put those main broad bean crop in, and then I thought, oh, maybe it's not quite enough. So I had this extra line. I didn't really know where to put it because I've got carrots in here now. So I've just put that in there, and the idea is it should give a little bit of shade for the lettuce. Oh yeah, look at the lettuce that has gone in. This is actually looking really healthy. Hasn't just been immediately slugged, which I'm very grateful for. So yeah, the broad beans will give a little bit of shade to those shade loving crops. So that should work out quite nice. And then just next door I have, as a very last minute job, you know, I was nearly done and I thought, yeah, no, let's do a bit more, let's get some cabbages out. And this is a mixture of the kind of summer cabbages down here and then the red cabbage that I cheekily bought from the garden centre just yesterday. That's gone in, and you can see a very professional setup with the netting. That one really should be a temporary measure, not temporary permanent, temporary measure, just until I can get some hoops set up. And then I will kind of occupy the rest of that bed, I think, with a few more cabbages, because there are plenty, and I do need to start really on the winter cabbages because there's only so many summer cabbages that one man can eat. The greenhouse itself is now looking much lighter because I've basically just moved the potato pots to out here, this little space in between the two greenhouses where they're just going to live for probably a while. I'm not 100% sure where they're going to go, but that's the good thing about having them in pots. You can just chop and change and move them around. But as I teased earlier, I think I'm gonna there's going to be a lot of potatoes. I'll explain why later. But this is slightly daunting too, because now I can actually see the space where the raised bed is going to go in here. And the plan was to have a raised bed basically go all the way around this greenhouse and just have those little flagstones in the middle. I'm starting to get a bit nervous about that, but it really is time to get these tomatoes moved on. Look at these. Every day I come up, the tomatoes are bigger and bigger, and I am starting to get a bit of tomato envy. You know, my tomatoes are really quite puny compared to pretty much everyone else's that I've seen. So let me know in the comments if yours are a similar size. Please reassure me that I'm not too late with my tomatoes, but this is going to be the final position for them in the beds here. And I really do need to probably get a bit of a move on and actually build those beds. Eh? I need to actually do it. The peas though, oh, look at these. I'm really so happy with these. Both these first ones that have come out of the modules and the ones behind, just looking absolutely fantastic, I think. And what I've done is basically just run a little bit of twine around the front, and that's all I'm going to do. Basically, it's just enough to get them going in the right direction, and then hopefully they kind of climb onto each other, and they might spill out a little bit towards the path, but that's okay. That's not the end of the world. Right, I've teased some big news a little bit, and I didn't want to put it in the thumbnail or the title or anything because it would have been too clickbaity, but basically for this summer, I've kind of inherited a third allotment. Not fully, but as a kind of caretaker. So let's go and have a look at it and I'll show you what I mean. I'm just on the way to show you what I mean. But I love being interrupted by wildlife this time of year, and this is a really lovely, slightly shade tolerant butterfly. This is called the speckled wood. And this is just, you normally see this quite early, but I absolutely adore these. They're quite a woodland butterfly generally, hence the name of speckled wood. And I used to live in a house at the National Trust that was named Speckled Wood after this butterfly, and there it goes. Oh, I just love seeing them. Planting out is kind of one of those weird ones actually. It feels like I've been working quite hard for a really long time. And actually, when you give a little tour and show people what you've been up to, it barely looks like much at all. It would have been nice if I was actually filming it, but I just wanted to get as much done today as humanly possible, basically. But here we are. This is plot 3, and there's a bit of a story here, but basically, this is the plot that belongs to my auntie and uncle. I mentioned this in like one video that most people probably missed, but they are currently undergoing the wonders of bringing a new life into this world. And so they are far, far too busy to, you know, be keeping on top of an allotment. And you can see it's been quite a long time since they were down. So you can see little remnants of where the paths are and where the beds are, but it's all a lot, isn't it? This is all a lot. And I only spoke to them very recently and they said, you know, would you like to grow some stuff on here? You're more than welcome to, because we're not going to be able to. And I sort of said, yeah, I'd absolutely love to. And I can kind of keep on top of it and make it look like it's being tended, and so you won't get any angry letters. And I've come down today and gone, ooh, I might have bitten off a little bit more than I can chew, because I knew that it hadn't been tended. But you do forget, you know, just how quickly things really start to take over a neglected plot. So I think what my plan is, I'm gonna come in here, basically dig over a little bit. Maybe I'll get to kind of half. Maybe I'll do just half the beds, really, really roughly dig it over, and then just bang in loads of potatoes and squashes. Well, I'm gonna do another tray of squashes. You can see I already had loads on the go, so I'm just gonna go more spuds, more squashes, plants that just take up loads of space and are going to be able to kind of compete with the weeds. If you've got any suggestions for other kind of real brutish plants, you know, that will take over the space, please do let me know. We're going to leave it there. Thank you ever so much for watching, and an extra special thank you as always to my Chili Pepper tier patrons, Tony, Pam, Michael, Bill and Louise. Thank you ever so much, and hopefully I'll see you again in the next one.